Good evening, fellow Floridians. My name is Chris Wills, and I'm coming to you from Miami, Florida, in the southeastern part of our state. And I'm really thankful to all of you for joining us this evening. We are 14 weeks away tonight from declaring Joe Biden our next president of the United States. That's right, 14 weeks from tonight, at around this time, the polls will be closing. And as we count down those 14 weeks, we're getting ready to count down that evening to those projections where we can celebrate together right in this space. And every single Tuesday at 7 p.m., we're connecting with Floridians all over the state to basically celebrate together, right? And get us prepared for this moment where we're going to celebrate all the hard work that everybody's putting in, the phone banking, the reaching out to fellow friends and voters via social media, the caravans, the fun stuff that we're doing, and thinking outside the box about ways that we can share Joe Biden's message. Joining us this evening to kick off tonight's broadcast from Central Florida, right smack dab in the middle of a very important congressional district, and you'll find out why, is Miss LaVon Bracey, who's a fellow delegate to the DNC convention. How are you, LaVon?
I am wonderful.
Thank you so much for joining us. I know we've been talking for a few weeks, and I know you've been anxious to get on here on the Biden for Florida live stream. We really, really appreciate you joining us and sharing your insight with us, with all of our fellow Floridians from across the state. So this is your which convention? How many times have you been to a convention?
This is my fourth.
Fourth. So I'm
Yes.
going to take notes because this is my first.
Okay.
And LaVon has a lot of experience. This is though your and my first fully digital convention, right?
Right.
This is
First.
the first time that we're going to do this through the computer, together. But we're inviting you in a very special way because you are a delegate from which congressional district?
District 10.
10. And for those Floridians who are politics buffs, 10, CD 10 in Florida belongs to none other than Congresswoman Val Demings. That's right.
Yes.
That is your Congresswoman.
Absolutely.
And right now we have Floridians all over the state who are crossing both fingers, seeing if they can cross toes, the whole bit, messing up their computer as I am, and really hoping that in just a few days, Joe Biden will select and make the official announcement as to who his VP will be. So I wanted to invite you, LaVon, to join us this evening as somebody who has a lot of experience with these conventions and with party politics, to tell us a little bit about what you know of Congresswoman Demings and why she would make such a spectacular VP choice for Joe Biden.
Okay. Thank you so much, Chris, for inviting me. I personally know Val Demings very well. She is one of those very personable people that has been a part of this community for years. She puts herself out there. She is a part of everything that this community does in Central Florida. As we all know, she was a police chief, and she did a remarkable job and worked herself through the ranks as the police chief. Prior to that, she was a counselor, so she has wonderful experience, and she knows how to win. She ran the first time and she did not win, but she did not let that deter her. She began to, when she lost, she began the very next day to plan the next 2 years so she could be victorious. And of course, she has won twice already. She would make an excellent VP. She would guarantee us that we will take Florida, because one of our own, we're going to work hard regardless of whoever he selects. But if he selects someone from our state, we know that we will get all the votes we need to make sure that Florida is in a win column. She is ready for the fight. She is ready to take on Vice President Pence in any aspect that she needs to. She's very well prepared, and I'm just excited. I am just hoping. I just listened to him tonight, and he said this is the week that he's going to make that selection. So I am hoping that it is someone that I know very well, that I know is capable, and that can do nothing but aid to the ticket and will just make all of the Floridians happy that Val Demings is on that ticket with him.
Absolutely. And those of you that are just tuning in, thank you for joining our live stream. We're talking about the VP pick that Joe Biden is just days away. It can happen at any moment. Joe Biden is going to announce his pick for vice president. And we're going to celebrate that here on the Biden for Florida live stream. But we're talking specifically about the reality that Congresswoman Val Demings is on the list of folks that are being vetted. And if you stick around, you might get a little bit of insider information that we might have to share with you here in just a little bit. So make sure you stay with us and hit that share button, because tonight's a really important conversation as Floridians. You know, we've never had a Floridian serve as vice president, let alone president of the United States.
Right.
And this would be, as you said, a very, very exciting thing for Floridians to have one of our own there running for one of the highest offices in the land. And the fact that she would be the first female vice president, the first Black female to serve as vice president. She'll be breaking through so many barriers. And you know, a lot of our viewers may not be as familiar with her because obviously, you know, she didn't run for president, so she doesn't have the big national profile of a Kamala Harris or Senator Elizabeth Warren, you know, or any of the other Senator Amy Klobuchar, any of the others who ran for president. But those of us who watched the impeachment trials of Donald Trump saw the efficacy with which Val Demings can make her case to the American public, and to the point that she helped get those impeachment articles approved through the House of Representatives. We know what the senators did, right? So unfortunately, the Republican senators abdicated their responsibilities to our republic. But Val Demings did such a great job really making sure that we outlined the case against Donald Trump very, very clearly. And at the end of the day, that's what this election is about, right? We are voting for sure for Biden. I've been excited about Joe Biden since day one, since the day that he launched his campaign. But the reality is, when voters go to that voting booth, this election, more than anything else, is a referendum on Donald Trump.
Absolutely.
What has he done the last 4 years? As some previous politicians have said, is your life better today with 150,000 dead, with our economy tanking because nobody in federal government and even in our state government here has taken the coronavirus and the pandemic seriously? Is your life better off today than it was 4 years ago under Barack Obama? And the answer to that is resoundingly heck no, right? And I think Val Demings can do such a good job at you know, outlining that for the American public, you know. And I guess the question that I have for you as a constituent of Val Demings, have you heard any interesting stories, right? Something that maybe you personally have witnessed, or somebody that lives in that area has shared with you about, you know, where Val Demings has just shown her humanity, her ability to connect with her constituents, and why the people in that area love her and her husband so much, because her husband serves as mayor of the county, right, of Orange County. And so the Demings family is a beloved family in that area of the I-4 corridor. We all know is so crucial. But So what is it that makes them such a beloved family, do you think?
Well, I think that Val is able to understand because she came from humble beginnings. Her mother was a maid, and her dad was a bus driver. And uh, it was very difficult for her as she grew up. She was able to get a scholarship and go to Florida State
Mhm.
and complete her degree there. But she's very sensitive to those with the who are considered the least of these
Mm,
because she's been in that category herself.
right.
So she has been able to connect with all classes of people. She can connect with those who do not have because she's been in that category before. And she has given her all to make sure that she addressed the needs and the concerns of her constituency. She has done an absolute excellent job in making sure that she knows that she is in Washington to represent the District 10, and they come first. And she's
Absolutely.
done that in everything she does. She makes sure that they come first, and we love her for that. And we are looking forward to her perhaps being our vice president.
There's a lot of excitement building all over the state of Florida for this woman on our screen, Val Demings, potentially being Joe Biden's VP. And both LaVon Bracey and I are among those that are, crossing our fingers, crossing our toes,
Absolutely.
and hoping for that. But LaVon, as somebody who has been a delegate, you know that this process is an interesting one. Every election cycle, there right now there is a for those of you that don't know how the process is playing out, there is a committee of folks that Joe Biden has tasked with vetting everybody that is being considered for vice president. That group that is vetting this team of potential candidates is being led by Senator Chris Dodd, a longtime friend of Joe Biden. And there are a number of members on this committee, members of the Black community, Latino community, a very diverse group that are looking at all of the different possibilities and how they would potentially impact the vote. And I guess one of the reasons that I wanted to do this so close to this decision being made is that the decision, as I understand it, has not yet been made, right? So, breaking news, they
Okay.
have not yet made the decision as to who will be the VP, but it looks like they're very, very close to that decision. And so, those of us that are here in Florida that know that Donald Trump has no path to reelection if he does not win here in Florida, right?
Right.
And that having Val Demings on the ballot will dramatically increase the excitement and the voter participation in that crucial I-4 corridor, let alone all over the state, because again, folks will be excited about getting a Floridian into the White House. Um,
Absolutely.
Knowing all of that and knowing that the decision hasn't quite yet been made, what I wanted to share with the audience is that it's great for us to be excited about Val Demings as fellow Floridians, but what we have to be doing over the next few days, if it's still even a possibility that Val Demings could be our VP, is helping to get others excited about Val Demings, right? Beyond Florida. So all of us have friends, family members, folks that we know in other parts of the country. And so I want to challenge you right now. That's really concerned about the results of this election and which way it could go. Right? There are no matter who Joe Biden chooses, we're going to win this election, no question.
Absolutely.
Right? I really strongly believe we are going to win this election. We're going to work hard, but we're going to win this election. That being said, the moment that we win Florida, right,
Yes.
it is
Yes. It's
over,
over.
and Florida will be a statement election, right? It will make it a statement election by winning here in this state because, you know, Donald Trump has moved his official residence to the Southern White House here in Palm Beach. He's been to Florida more times than any other state in the entire country this year, right? He has visited us more than any other state. So we beat him here, and this becomes a statement election where Floridians who, if you look at the makeup of our state from South Florida to Central Florida and the Panhandle and all these different areas of our state, we're a very diverse state that we're very representative of the rest of the country. So us here in Florida saying, see ya, Donald Trump. We don't want any more of your divisiveness, and we're going to make Joe Biden a uniter, a healer in chief, our president, and potentially Val Demings, our VP. That's going to send such a strong message to the entire country and for the history books. And that's why making Val Demings the VP makes so much sense, because it makes an election that is very, very likely to go Joe Biden's way a for sure certainty. And what we are asking all of you to do is to talk to your friends and family members in other states, make this case to them, explain to them the logic behind choosing Val Demings as the VP, and encourage them to post it on social media, because this committee that is looking at all the different candidates, they can see that LaVon and I and so many others here in Florida are excited about Val Demings, but they want to know, is Val Demings going to excite people in other states as well? So make sure you're doing that. That's a very, very important thing to be doing over the next few days, especially as this final decision is going to be made. Now, LaVon, I know that you have another meeting to get to, but before you go, just your last tip for us as we're watching this excitement of the convention build. What do you think that we can expect out of this fully digital convention and the process where we're going to officially vote to nominate Joe Biden and potentially whoever his VP is, whether that's Val Demings or not?
Well, I've never done a digital, but I just think that Trump has done such a horrible job. We are going to be so excited to select Joe Biden, and we're going to be so excited to work as hard as we possibly can, because the president who has been there for 4 years has done damage that will last generations if we really don't make a change, and a drastic change, immediately. So I'm excited because I'm going to make the way better for my grandchildren by getting rid of the president that we have, and then putting Joe Biden and Val Demings in the White House.
Got those fingers crossed.
Yes.
Ron, I know you have another Zoom. We're all jumping from Zooms to Zooms and digital meetings to digital meetings. But I want to thank you so much for sharing your insight with us. We've got 14 weeks to go tonight, and I certainly hope we're highlighting different delegates every single week here on this live stream, and we're connecting with fellow Floridians. So I hope you'll join us again sometime over the next 14 weeks. And most importantly, hopefully we have, we get past this coronavirus thing, but it's not looking like that with the leadership that we've got. So we're going to have a big digital virtual celebration here on the evening of November 3rd. And I hope you'll have a front row seat with all of us to watch Joe Biden be elected the next president of the United States.
Absolutely. I'll be there.
Thank you so much, LaVon.
All
have
right.
a wonderful evening. We'll be in touch again soon.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
So that was LaVon Bracey. She lives in Central Florida, Congressional District 10, the Congressional District of Val Demings. Again, the person that so many of us are hoping here in Florida gets chosen as Joe Biden's VP. I wanted to share with you all a quick video clip where Val Demings was interviewed just about a week ago. So again, she's really in the running for this, but you all can really help to get the word out to friends and family members in other states to encourage them to support and share their excitement about making this a statement election here in Florida by picking Val Demings and making sure we win this election. I wanted to share a video where she was interviewed precisely about this process and how she is being considered for VP. So this is an interview that aired on NBC, The Tonight Show, and this is Jimmy Fallon interviewing Congresswoman Val Demings. So hope you guys enjoy this. Don't go anywhere, though, because when we come back, we're going to talk about fact over fiction in this election of 2020 and some really important things for you all to consider as you talk to your friends, family members, and other members of your community and voters as we work to get out the vote. Fact over fiction in just moments.
Hello, Congresswoman Demings.
Good evening.
Hold on one second, guys. My apologies. I made a little boo-boo there. So we're going to do that one more time. We're going to try that one more time. And always technical glitches in this age of digital media, right? So here we go.
Hello, Congresswoman Demings.
Good evening. It's great to be with you.
Thank you so much for coming on the show and talking to me. I want to get into everything with you because you're such an interesting person, and I read somewhere that you held your first office in 6th grade. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh my God. So look, 1st through 5th grade, I went to a all-black school, 1st through 5th. And then in 6th grade, our school was integrated, so I was transferred to a school that was much closer to my home. I grew up in a rural part of Jacksonville, and I was selected to be the school patrol. And Jimmy, I took my job as a school patrol very, very seriously. Now, it was supposed to be limited to helping children, you know, maybe cross the street or cross the parking lot, and just standing there with my orange badge on looking official. But I really carried my job to the bus, and if kids were missing.
Oh, yeah! You put them in their place. I love it. Oh, my God. And look at you now. See, kids?
I'm surprised they didn't, like, do a stakeout and wait for me on the playground or something, but
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Look now.
Look at you now. With everything that's going on, I mean, there's so much happening in this world. Gosh, I just want to first off and say, I think you've done a great job. Everything that's going on with Black Lives Matter kind of put you in an interesting position.
What happened to George Floyd, and let me say this as a former law enforcement officer who did the job 27 years. I grew up in the Orlando Police Department, worked my way up through the ranks to become their first woman chief of police. It was a job that I loved and a job that I felt like I was really making a difference.
Sure.
But what I do know is what happened to George Floyd was brutal. It was senseless. It was murder. And the persons responsible are being and should be held accountable. What happened to Breonna Taylor? We need to look at our policies at law enforcement agencies all over this country. No-knock warrants, I'm very familiar with them. They've always been high risk, they're dangerous. And so when we look at the things that we're doing or proposing in the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act, we're dealing with, you know, who we hire, we're dealing with training, we're dealing with policy, and trying to develop a national standard. So whether you're a 10-person agency in a small town or a 36,000-person agency in a big city, there will be some national standards that really will help to govern how police departments operate, and that's a good thing.
All those years as police chief, is there something that you're most proud of?
When I was appointed chief, at the end of 2007, crime was at an all-time high in Orlando. I knew that if I had not been successful in reducing the crime rate, we know what people would have said. First woman chief, oh my God, she can't handle that job. And my God, she's a Black woman too, perhaps. They may have said that. But instead of focusing on the crisis, I chose to focus on the opportunity. I reorganized the department. I disbanded some units that were pretty dysfunctional, and we worked very closely with our community, and we were able to reduce violent crime by over 40%. I'm very proud of that.
Is there something you wish that you did a better job of?
You know, as a public servant, and I won't just limit it to police work, I would hope that every public servant would say to themselves when asked that question, yeah, I wish I would have done more. I really wish that I would have focused more on training within the police department. We focused a lot on training. Don't get me wrong. We trained in some areas 4 times more than the state are required. But in terms of de-escalation training, one of the things that I used to say to the men and women all the time when I was the chief was that, number one, you have a lot of equipment around your waist. The best weapon that you have is the good brain that you have. Yes. Use it. Always use it. Our ability to communicate with people. When we talk about de-escalation skills, that's all that is. It might have a fancy name. It is the ability to not be rushed, not responding to the next call before you finish this one, but really take your time and use the best weapon that you have been issued, your brain and the gift of gab, to de-escalate the situation. Now, let me say this. You can't do it on everybody. There are some people who are just looking for the fight, right? And if you show up in a police uniform, that's the one they've been looking for.
Yeah.
But to have focused more on de-escalation training, I think is always a win-win. And that's definitely something that we are doing with the George Floyd Justice in Policing Act. And I believe that's a good thing.
Before we go, and thank you so much again for doing that. I know you're very busy, Congresswoman. You are on the short list of maybe being the vice president. As the little girl who is the school patrol, the 11-year-old Val, would you ever think this is possible?
What my parents helped me to see, or what they made their 7 children and their baby daughter believe, was that only in America it's possible. And if we look historically, America has let us down in some areas, but as a nation, we've always seemed to have the ability to stand up and get it right, whether that's the women's rights movement, the civil rights movement, the voting rights movement, marriage equality and equal rights. We've always had the ability to get it right. And so I do believe that only in America can that little Black girl who grew up the daughter of a maid and a janitor, served as the school patrol, be on a short list for Vice President of the United States. I'm honored and humbled by the possibility.
Congresswoman, thank you so much for coming on our show and talking to me. I'd love to talk to you more, and I would love to see you in person one day, hopefully soon.
So that was Jimmy Fallon with our own Floridian, Congresswoman Val Demings from Congressional District 10. Does that look like a VP to you? She does to me. But again, as I've said time and time again, those fellow Floridians that are excited about Val Demings, let's make sure that that excitement is being shared with people outside of Florida, and encourage them to post on social media, talk to the folks that they know, and reach out to as many people across the nation as possible. This is a smart choice. And at the end of the day, as I've said, no matter who Joe Biden chooses, we know it's going to be the right choice for this. So we're really very, very excited about potentially Val Demings, but whoever Joe Biden chooses as the first woman vice president, and that choice is coming very, very soon. I told you all that I was going to share with you some insider information, and I don't want to hold back from that anymore. So what I can tell you is, a lot of people are asking, well, when is the day? When is it likely to happen? Maybe will Joe Biden wait till the convention starting on Monday, August 17th? I can tell you that the likelihood for that is very, very slim. And the reason for that, little insider information from those of us that are delegates. So the delegate voting process for the conventions every 4 years typically happens during the convention. And literally the voting process is where the delegates will approve the party platform. But the most important votes are the votes to approve the nomination of the nominee, Joe Biden in this case, and whoever his VP pick will be. Because this convention is being handled in a digital fashion, the DNC has decided that the voting will take place before the convention, right? So all of us as delegates will have basically wrapped up all of our voting by the time the convention begins. So we know, I'm pretty confident to tell you, that we will know who the VP will be prior to August 17th when the convention begins. Hope that's some exciting news for you all. That means it's literally just days away. But there are some that think that it's even sooner than that. So any additional information that we have, we'll share it right here on Biden for Florida. Make sure you've given our page a like, follow us, and we'll give you all the little insider scoops. As the Biden campaign likes to say, it's the inside scoop because Biden loves his ice cream. All right. So tonight I wanted to start off a series that we're going to be doing over the next 14 weeks that I hope you all will enjoy. And that is to have you all chime in and share your thoughts on, let me know what it is that the biggest and most recurring questions that you get about Joe Biden are. And we're going to try and answer those right here over the next few minutes. It's just now 7:35, so we'll take just a few minutes to take those questions. I'm going to put up the question on the banner on the bottom of the screen, asking you all, what questions do you hear most often about Biden? So you can, if you're watching on YouTube, you're watching on Facebook, just in the comment section, you can post your question there. What do you hear from your friends, your family members, your social media contacts, just random folks? If you're out there canvassing by phone, that's what we're doing right now, phone banking. What kind of questions do you hear about Joe Biden, especially the ones that come up time and time again? And I think that one of the I want to start off with the question that I hear very, very often from folks, and just share with you my thoughts on them. And the idea about doing these is, I know that there's a lot of people out there that get these questions and just don't know how to address them. So I want to be able to help point you guys in the direction of resources that help you address those questions and help you answer those questions effectively. So I think probably the most repeated question, and the thing that especially the Trump campaign wants to drill in the most is about whether or not people are excited about Joe Biden, and whether or not like they keep asking this question, where is Joe Biden? Where is Joe Biden? Well, I want to ask all of you, how many of you saw Joe Biden's address today, the fourth that he's done on the Build Back Better plan? He did a huge address and an entire press conference, almost an hour, and it's up on YouTube, it's on Facebook, it's on Twitter. I believe it's also on Instagram, but for sure on those platforms. You know, what is he outlining to help build our country back up again? Make sure that we have a robust economy again, and that it's bringing all the disparities of all those minority groups and all those people that have been disaffected and have not really had the economy work for them in the past, even before the coronavirus pandemic, even before Donald Trump. There are too many people that have not been able to be lifted up by the American economy. And certainly Trump has done nothing for them, right? So he says that he's for the forgotten man and yada yada. But we've seen where he hasn't been able to bring back manufacturing in any significant way. He hasn't been able to bring back coal jobs because, of course, he wasn't going to be able to. But Joe Biden has a really comprehensive Build Back Better plan, and he's been outlining that over the last basically month. Every week, he's come out with a new facet of his plan. Additionally, the campaign is doing a ton of digital events where you can interact with Joe Biden, Dr. Jill Biden, campaign staffers and surrogates. Every day there is something going on, and so I wanted to show you all the resource when you get this question. You know, where is Joe Biden, and are people excited about him? I wanted to show you all how you can find out what's going on, and how you can get engaged. And it's really simple. All you have to do is go to the Joe Biden website, right? And I'm going to share it with you my screen so you can see exactly what I'm seeing. So we're going to share that. This is the joebiden.com website. Let me put myself up there so you can see me. There we go. So, and let's put this the question up on the screen, right? Where is Joe Biden? That's the question that we get probably the most. So here's Joe Biden on his website. Right up here on the top, if you look at the main menu, okay, you can see that right smack dab in the center is the option to go to the Action Center, right? And it gives you a whole list of activities that you can use to take action for Joe. You can make phone calls for Joe, find an event, download the Team Joe app to text your friends, create your own Team Joe graphic, contact an organizer that's been assigned to your area, organize a toolkit, become a grassroots fundraiser for Biden. So these are all these activities that you can do. But, you know, where is Joe Biden? Right here, where Joe Biden is, right smack dab in the center, surrounded by a bunch of supporters. This is obviously before the coronavirus pandemic, but an awesome picture of Joe there. Right here, you're going to click on Find an Event Near You. And then it's going to link you to this. You'll see on the top left here, it's Biden President powered by Mobilize. Mobilize is a platform that the Biden campaign uses to help schedule events and help connect you with events that are coming up. And you can filter based on, you know, what kind of event. There's not many in-person events really right now because the campaign has prioritized people's safety. You know, but you can keep it at any kind. You can put in your zip code if there's a virtual event that has been scheduled for your area. Like today, Dr. Jill Biden had a virtual event in Palm Beach County, and lots of folks from Palm Beach County and the surrounding areas participated. So, you know, there's fun things like trivia night and Fortnite and phone bank. There's a lot of, you know, really fun events that are taking place that you can check out the details and just be a part of. And you can share these with folks. So anybody who asks you, where is Joe Biden? Have them come and check out joebiden.com and check out the Action Center and have them get engaged, and they can learn more about that. But another great resource, and I guess we can use this same window, is where they can find more about Joe Biden is social media, right? So I guess the best way to answer that question, where is Joe Biden, besides pointing people in the direction of the Joe Biden website, is pointing them, like, you know, all of us in our lives, when we ask, you know, where is my friend? Where is my family member? What do? We go to their social media page, all right? So get your friends, family members, loved ones to follow Joe Biden on social media, right? Whether they're on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, and encourage them, ask them, have you liked the page? You can actually come to the page, and I'm pretty sure, yeah. So on any Facebook page, on the this is the new version of Facebook, by the way. So you might have an older version that looks a little different, but the new version of Facebook, you click on the little menu, and you can actually invite your friends to like Joe Biden's page, right? And it'll bring up a list of your friends, and then you see some of my friends have already liked, and you can invite them to like the page, and then they'll get updates from the page regularly, like you do. So this is another great way to combat that silly narrative of where is Joe Biden and what's he doing, so that people can see. I mean, just today, you know, you can see 15 minutes ago, Joe Biden posted this video. 50 minutes ago, that video, right? An hour ago, that video. So just in the last hour, you've got 3 videos that are informative, that are interesting, that people can connect with on the Joe Biden on the Joe Biden social media pages. So this is probably the question that gets asked the most, and it's super simple for you all to answer. But I want to know what you are hearing, right? So what questions are you hearing about Joe Biden as you're having interactions with voters, whether you're phone banking, whether you're just talking to people, things that people are posting on your profiles? Share those in the comments again on the Facebook Live or the YouTube Live. Just post in the comments, what questions do you hear most about Joe Biden? And there are comments coming in here. Thank you very much, John. I appreciate that. You're right. The event with Dr. Jill Biden is tomorrow in Palm Beach. Got my days crossed. But there's events happening all over the place, all over the state of Florida, all over the country, and we definitely want to strongly encourage you all to participate and get engaged. But again, the question for you: what questions do you hear most about Joe Biden? I guess I'll also open it up for another thing that is brought up often. Again, that the Trump campaign is doing its darndest to try and solidify, which is about you've seen in the ads, I'm sure, quite a bit, where unfortunately, if you look at the Trump ads, most of them are talking negatively about Joe Biden, but not really talking much about what Donald Trump is promising to do for the next 4 years. If you actually look at the Trump website, there's not much policy there, no real plans for the future. The question that often also comes up, and let's just be real, I'm putting it front and center for you all. We get this question all the time: is Joe Biden too old? Right? So let's tackle that question head on and deal with that. And how can you respond to that with folks that bring that up as you're talking to voters or you're talking to your friends and family members? Right? So Joe Biden in age right now, he is 77. If when he's elected, when he is elected president, when he's sworn in, he'll be 78. So his birthday is just after the election, November 20th. So just after the election, he'll turn 78. He will be, for sure. The reality is he will be the oldest person elected president of the United States. But the age gap between him and Donald Trump is actually pretty small. Donald Trump is 74 years old. So you're really talking about a 3-year age gap between the two of them. But here's the important thing. I really find it really interesting that age is brought up in politics all the time. And we hear, so much about racism and all sorts of isms, sexism, when it comes to consideration of our politicians. But too often, we don't talk about the realities that ageism is just as bad. We need to not vote based on somebody's age, whether at the upper range or the lower range, right? So saying that somebody is too old to be president versus also somebody is too young to be president, as Mayor Pete Buttigieg was accused of this election cycle. What we need to be looking at is look at people's abilities, look at their experience, and look at them as a candidate. What do they have to offer, and are they capable of fulfilling the role of the office that they are running for? And I often tell folks, it's interesting that this happens in politics, because if you think about it, especially on the upper age side of things, when it comes to considering older candidates, as Joe Biden is, folks, when we go into the operating room, right? When you have a doctor over you, typically you want the more experienced, older doctor that's been around for a little bit, has all sorts of different issues on the operating table that they have had to deal with, being the one holding the scalpel over you. You want that experience over somebody who is inexperienced, right? And right now, with Joe Biden, we've got somebody that has a plethora of experience, right? Somebody that's been in politics for over 30 years and knows how to deal with precisely the kind of crises that we are being presented with. Now, what we're seeing with Donald Trump, of course, though, is that age doesn't necessarily get you the right kind of experience, right? So in Donald Trump, you have somebody who had no government experience. And as I tell folks, as we're looking at this specific scenario that we're in with this pandemic crisis, you know, Donald Trump, prior to being president, dealt with zero crises, zero public crises for sure, right? The only crises that Donald Trump dealt with before being elected president were the crises of his own making when he created some kind of scandal with Rosie O'Donnell to boost his ratings for The Apprentice, right? So that is why he is so ill prepared to deal with this massive national public crises that we are facing in the pandemic crisis. Now, you contrast that with Joe Biden, and as it's been pointed out so many times, during the Trump administration, we are dealing now with this global pandemic. But guess what? During the Obama administration, Biden led the response for the Ebola pandemic. They also dealt with two other pandemics during the Obama-Biden administration. So Biden has the experience to deal with these kind of pandemics, not to mention that the Obama-Biden administration literally left the Trump administration the playbook, the pandemic playbook, what to do, right? Basically, pandemics for dummies. And Donald Trump ripped it up and paid no attention to it, right? So that says a whole lot about Donald Trump. But focusing in on Joe Biden, you know, with his age comes that experience, comes knowing how to deal with a pandemic, knowing how to deal with a big part of this pandemic, which is the economic crisis, right? People often forget in 2009, right? The economy had completely collapsed just as Barack Obama was elected in a very historic fashion in the 2008 presidential election. And they walked into basically an economy that was on its path to being another Great Depression. And it was Barack Obama that looked at that situation, looked at Joe Biden's experience, and said, Joe Biden, you're going to be in charge of the Recovery Act, right? And so, again, with Biden's age, you get the experience of somebody who dealt with a collapsing economy and helped it recover, helped make sure that that Great Recession did not turn into a Great Depression. And that is what we get in Joe Biden with his age. But I also want to point out, you know, this thing where they try to, what is it that Trump tries to call him Sleepy Joe? I mean, maybe not all of you have had the opportunity to be in an event with Joe Biden, but this is a really fit, physically fit, mentally fit, and sharp guy, really strong. And I guess this is, if nobody has any other questions that they want to share, and I'm happy again to help you all to address any questions that you get time and time again from friends, family members that you see on social media, and help you all to develop an answer to those so that you know what to say, because this is really important that we don't let the Trump people define the narrative and just push out this false information about Joe Biden, and that we have the ability to respond to it. But when it comes to Joe Biden, right, you know, calling him Sleepy Joe, and in the ads that Donald Trump bought in Spanish last week here in the state of Florida, they're trying to portray him as weak. Joe Biden has gone through so much adversity in his life, and anybody who has had any kind of adversity, any kind of experience in life, knows that there is nothing that builds strength in a person more than the challenges and adversities that they face in their own lives. So when you look at the two of these men, one who received a $1 million loan from his father to build up his company, a small loan as he calls it, and at least to our knowledge has not faced any real major adversity in his life. And you contrast that with Joe Biden, who has faced great adversity over the course of his life, from losing his wife and his child in a car accident, to his 2 sons being seriously injured in that car accident just days before, just as he's getting sworn in to be United States Senator. And in his childhood, his father losing his job and having to move. When you look at the fact that Joe Biden lost Beau Biden, his son, who even the fact that his son, 2 of his sons were serving overseas, and him having to deal with all of that as all of the families that have service members serving overseas know that those challenges that they face. I mean, and again, in the role of vice president, facing an economy head on that was collapsing, and the adversity that presented him with, and the strength with which he has confronted each and every one of these challenges, boy, it's not somebody, I don't think, ever that's run for president, or at least not in modern history, that probably has a stronger character, a stronger will, and a stronger resume to bring to the presidency than Joe Biden presents as he runs for this 2020 election. So, these are the things that I strongly advise you all to share with your friends, your family members, your neighbors, your social media contacts. You have in Joe Biden a really strong person, probably one of the strongest people that we've had to run for president, to be president of the United States, precisely because of the challenges that life has thrown his way, and the strength with which he has overcome each and every one of those challenges in his personal life and as a public servant, facing the challenges that were before the American public and helping us to overcome those as a country. So that is my two questions that I get most often, and I hope that me sharing some insight on those helped to enlighten you all, helped to provide you some answers that you can provide to your friends, your family members, your social media contacts. And we'll do more of these over the next 14 weeks. We've got 14 weeks till this election. And so I hope that next Tuesday that you will join us again here at 7 p.m. as we continue our countdown towards the November 3rd, 2020 election, when together we're going to flip Florida blue with Biden. We'll go out tonight with a special video. We hope that you guys enjoy this video. It's an ad that just came out where the National Democratic Party is reminding us that this is not a test. This is a very, very important election that is before us on November 3rd. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you next Tuesday at 7 p.m.
This is not a test.
We have it totally under control. It's one person.
He promised it would disappear.
It goes away in April with the heat.
More dead than from the 9/11 terror attacks.
Unprepared and making it up.
Ultraviolet. Supposing he brought the light inside the body.
Other countries followed guidance. He ignored science.
Slow the testing down.
Most new cases in a single day.
4 million cases.
Desperate to reopen schools because he thinks it will save his re-election.
We have to open the schools.
Critical shortage of PPE.
Threatening their funding.
When they don't open their schools, we're not going to fund them.
Ignoring how the virus spreads. Risking teachers' and parents' lives. Going against the advice of experts.
It's had very little impact on young people.
Do you trust him to do what's best for our children? Because this is not a test. Trump is failing.
I aced it. I aced the test.
Right now, we're at a crossroads. We've seen what can happen when we elect a leader determined to divide us. As president, Joe Biden will forge a new path by growing an economy that works for working families, getting small businesses back on their feet, and expanding access to affordable health care. Joe Biden will lead us on the path forward, paved with opportunity for us all.
I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.